Well, start looking back, as you looked at the film and the offensive production you had, I guess, where did you see areas that took a market improvement?
Well, I mean, it's one game. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to jump to conclusions over 3 or 4 at bats, and you made more first downs. I think that was probably the most notable.
And then, looking at your depth chart again, you went from 3 both the quarterbacks to 2. I guess what did those guys show you as they had a little more reps?
I mean, they just how helpful it is that they have a chance to play in games. And I feel like I repeat myself here a little bit, but I mean, whenever you work in a role and you do it for a prolonged period of time, naturally you learn. There's just so many things that you learn that even as much as you want to try to replicate that in practice, it's not always exactly the same.
Okay, but with Terrence Gist, coming out of your room as fullback coach, I guess what has helped him emerge? And if I had asked you last year, kind of where he stood and what his future looked like, would you have predicted he would have made the leaps to getting this kind of time?
Well, he didn't play it down last year. He was out with a knee injury, and now you go back. He has good strength, good power. That was evident, watching his film in high school too, and like you watch some of the runs and some of the strikes and hits that he had as a linebacker, you saw some of that power in him coming out of his hips, and he just, I think one of the keys for him is just, the rigors of playing college football while balancing the demands of the academy. That's really for every person on our team. But I think especially at that position, doing that week in, week out.
Hey, Coach. Last week, Colorado State had 6 different players that went for plays 20 yards or more. A lot of explosive plays. Is limiting those part of the game plan this week, and how do you prepare your players for that?
Well, it helps if you can, right? I think the part when you look at them in general, they do have a bunch of big plays. They move exceptionally well. The other part, their offensive line, as much football as they've played, they have an excellent quarterback, and he has a good bit of time to be able to operate. And just overall, you look at the sheer number of starts that they have on both sides of the ball, especially offensively. And, they have a bunch of guys that are in teens plus starts. They have a bunch of guys that have 30-plus starts too. And I think that especially comes into play just how good they are up front along with the QB.
How about this rivalry? Talking to the guys in years past, it's the Service Academy games and then playing Colorado State. For you as a coach, does this game bring any extra juice for you?
Well, you want to play each time you go play. You want to play hard and you want to play well, and we have a ton of respect for them. You just look, they have. I think it's probably, I've had to say, about as talented and experienced of a team as they've had in quite some time.
We don't know if you guys will be playing them with conference alignment in the next few years. Is that something that you hope that you guys will schedule them in non-conference play? I don't have
a lot of input on that. We'll see as we go forward. Is that for certain in 2026, where there are 2 different conferences? I guess time will run its course.
As you look at this 7-game winning streak, I guess how surprised are you that it exists? Just given, every year you play them, we know their talent, the resources they have. The fact that your program has beat them 7 times in a row, do you have any thoughts on?
I don't, just because you're so glued into your current team, and to just try to help your guys be better with their footwork and their fundamentals and just the growth they need to make. Like I said earlier, the regard that we have for, their talent level, which I think that shows in the number of guys they put into the NFL. Certainly, they're one of the top 3 schools in our league. I think, I don't know if it's out there required to be fully transparent. It's not, and they're trying to hide anything, just in terms of, investment in NIL. The other part is, I think if you went in a good number of their sports, whether it was volleyball or basketball or certainly football, they do a tremendous job.
Okay. And with Cade Harris coming in, he's been one of the more consistent players you've had offensively this season. In my view, I don't know if you share that opinion. What has helped him to kind of grow from what he, what?
I think if you looked at guys that played, who are guys that played for us in 2022? What would come to mind would be Matt DePore, our kicker, Carson Bay as a punter some. It would be Camby Goff and probably Cade Harris. Yeah, he's been dinged a little bit, and those are 4 guys that that had. Yeah, those are 4 guys that really had August in previous years too, which I just think it helps when you've played, and he has. He does have very good instincts. He has good ball skills. He processes well, so you're able to move him around a good bit. He's just not a guy that you say, all right, he's always the outside receiver, or he's always attached to the tackle. There's formation flexibility just because he handles football well.
And then back to Terrence Gist for one more. Is he kind of a throwback to kind of the pre-Superback evolution of that position, to where he's maybe a little more stout and
he is bigger. You're right. I mean, he is. He's bigger. He has good power, but he has good ball carrying skills too. And I think there were times the other night, where he hit pretty decisively, and because of it, the ball, you're gaining extra yards, or maybe when there's a bunch of bodies in there, the pile still moves a little bit too.
Just with so much talk about the youth and inexperience of this team, how far do you think a win in the middle of the season would go for the rest of the year?
Well, you just can't lose sight of your commitment to the process. Just the work, the interaction that you have with the guys, and helping them continue to develop. And that's what we need to do. And if we do that to the utmost of our ability, then we create more possibilities, for a desired outcome or a result, for what you want this Saturday. And every day is so valuable for us, not only on the practice field, but what we do in the weight room, and just, the connection part of it, when it comes to building the teamwork and gaining confidence in what you're required to do.
Is there something that you're seeing in practice from this team that you've just been waiting for them to show on Saturdays?
It doesn't happen that fast. I mean, that's not, and the wishing and the hoping, you just said hoping, that's not always a strategy nor a tactic. You just thing these guys do now, they work and they care and they have character. We got to keep practicing. We got to keep playing, and we got to keep lifting too. I know I've said that a couple of times. I think that comes into play also, just to build the girth, the thickness, and the power. Just because that matters in football. It's not just long distance running, although that stamina also comes into play, as it is just down after down playing with the power that you need.
All right, Cade, so you guys are playing Colorado State this week. Talking to guys in years past, it goes Service Academy games and then this in-state rival. How is the team talking about this rivalry, and does it bring a little bit extra for you guys this week?
For sure. I think it brings a little extra just being an in-state rivalry, like you said. We got the trophy at stake. And for us, we got our pride at stake. Obviously, we've lost a few straight. So it's time for us to put our heads down, get to work, and pull out a win this week.
Having lost the last few, there's been some talk about confidence in the locker room. How far do you think a win this week would go for this team?
I think it would be huge, just to set us on the right track again, get us kind of our mojo back and, like you said, our confidence back, and just get us rolling for the rest of the year.
Going off those questions at this point in the season, how do you kind of get that juice back with the team that you guys had at the start of the season?
I think it just comes down to doing what we know how to do, playing Air Force football. I think in games past, we've kind of struggled to do that. This last game, we kind of started getting there. There's pieces that show it. So I think just getting down to what we know how to do and executing at a high level, I think we'll be there.
Now back at home, how's the energy at practice, getting excited for this in-state rivalry game?
No, it's for sure. It's exciting. It's always nice to have a home game. And, again, the added rivalry on top of that just makes it even worthwhile. So,
when you look at what you guys did Saturday offensively, how encouraging was that? How much was, New Mexico State has not had New Mexico's not had a great defense, but how much do you feel like that was you guys showing improvement versus, the opponent?
I think it was a little both. They had some talented dudes on defense, but at the same time, I felt like we finally started putting pieces together, had some things work, had some new guys in new spots, and you saw our confidence kind of came back. So I'm excited to keep it rolling, hopefully into this week and later in the season.
Talking to Coach Calhoun about you, first thing he mentions is the experience, the fact that you were on the team in 2022 and that you've seen some college football. How much do you think that helps you as you progress as a player?
I think it helps a lot, mostly just understanding the speed of the game and kind of understanding the flow. I remember my first game in college, I was kind of oh man, this is a lot different than high school, just as in the sense of speed and how guys move. But as you see that more and more and get more familiar with it, it just becomes another game.
And you mentioned confidence earlier. When you're on the perimeter on Saturday night, you paused a little while. To have the confidence to make that move the way you did, where does that come from?
I don't know if I'd say confidence. My legs just kind of weren't working as well as they did, but I appreciate the compliment. I think just kind of getting familiar with the game and how the speed moves and how people move on the field definitely helps in trying to make moves and making guys miss. So,
as a receiver, can you share what each of the quarterbacks, their strengths are and what they bring when they come into the game?
For sure. I think they all kind of have different skill sets. As you saw with Bouge, he's got a big arm. He's a big, confident guy. Love being around him. Quinn, as you saw, is dynamic. He can get out in the field and move. Josh, you saw that too. He can also throw. I think we got a good group of guys, and regardless of who's in there, I think people are happy to see him in there. So.
Back to the quarterback spot, how much does a team need continuity there, to kind of settle in on a guy, or do you think that's just not going to be in the cards this year?
I think it's important just because, you like to have some stability in who's playing so you can build confidence with that guy. In our offense, obviously, we saw things change and people played differently. I think it's important to have a single guy just to build confidence around him and not having changes in and out. But at the same time, if you're put in a spot, you have a job to do, and you kind of just have to step up. So,
and, I know he doesn't play your position, but Terrence Gist, as a running back, kind of what do you see as his skill set?
Yeah, he's a big, powerful dude. He's not going to make too many people miss, shiftiness, but he'll run over you. I think we saw flashes of his good side this past week, so I'm excited for him.
Did he kind of emerge out of nowhere? I know he was hurt last year, but
right.
Did you guys on the team kind of see this coming for him?
I think part of it, obviously we knew he was a good athlete and he was a big, tough, strong runner. It was just kind of all right, let's see what he can do in a game, and I think we've kind of seen that now.
And to have beaten Colorado State 7 times in a row, is that a surprising stat for you guys, just knowing the talent they have, or kind of how do you feel about that streak?
I don't think so. Obviously, they're a very talented squad. They have dudes that go to the league every year. I feel it's good to beat them, like you said, 7 times in a row, hopefully going on 8 this week, just because it's fun to beat dudes like that when they're going to go to the league, and you can say, yeah, we beat those guys back in the day.
And I know you guys are intrinsically motivated. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. But having, in a season where things have not gone your way, like to have something like this to keep alive, does that provide some extra motivation this week?
I think so. Again, like week to week, our goal is to win. And then you kind of add the rivalry and all these other external things on top of that, and it just kind of makes it mean a little more. So you could say that for sure.
Kind of where's the defense at? Obviously you guys have
Yeah.
had such a long run of success. Then
Everything's coming up. It's like, not to don't blame anywhere or anything, but it's like, as you can tell, the last 3 years we've had the same guys kind of in there playing, and so going into this year we got a lot of new guys stepping into new shoes, and so it's like kind of like stepping on their shoulders, carrying on the legacy, and so it's, and then another thing with like injuries, it's been hurtful, and so but I think each week you got to go in there with a new kind of like positive attitude. Can't let what happened last week kind of carry on forward, and so just keep our heads up, keep going out there doing our thing, keep playing, and just keep going till the whistle blows, and just don't let what happened before carry on to next week.
And I know Colorado State, has dynamic athletes,
Yeah.
but the quarterback position isn't quite as mobile. Not like you guys have seen over the past few weeks. Is it kind of nice to set into something that's a little more traditional and face that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good quarterback. Kind of, Colorado State's known for that, like airing it out, just good team, and so I think we got a good game plan going into it, and it's nice, kind of like to, we kind of know what we're expecting from them, so we got a good game plan, good guys, so I think we got something special cooked up for them, so it should be a good week.
You guys are now midway through the season this week facing an in-state
ma'am.
rival. How do you kind of get that juice back that you guys probably had at the beginning of the season?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just, kind of like going back before, you got to just keep people, like, into it, keep people engaged, let them, it's like, don't look at the record, don't look at our opponents, don't look, a lot of things Coach Calhoun says is, we can't beat our opponent, we got to fix ourselves first. We can't beat ourselves. And so it's, focusing on us, getting ourselves better every day, getting ourselves, constantly getting guys back, getting them healthy, getting them engaged, and just at the end of the day, it's a game, have fun with it. Don't let what's going on, because for a lot of guys, it's their last ride. So kind of make the most out of it. And obviously, winning's the goal, but just, going at it every day and having fun with it. So.
Cade was just talking about how fun it is to be able to say that CSU has some guys that go play in the league, and you guys are able to say that you're on a winning streak against them. How is the team talking about the rivalry game this week, and just the need to continue the winning streak?
It's there for sure. Just, like not letting the pressure overbuild from it, with like how we've played against them previously and how we're going to continue playing against them, and the rivalry that's there, and so not letting let the game get bigger than what it is, I think is a big thing that we kind of going into this week have done a lot of good at, and kind of just, it's just another opponent at the end of the day. The game's special, we always know it is with Colorado games, and so it'll be a fun game for sure, and kind of just hope the best, so we'll be good.
There's a lot of youth and inexperience on this team. How far do you think a win this week would go for the rest of the season?
I think a win will just kind of get us back on the right track, and just kind of like bring the focus back, and so like obviously, win is just going to be amazing, and so but just continuing at it, at the end of the day, you just got to kind of give glory to God and everything through that, and realizing that that's the focus and foundation for a lot of guys on this team. And so kind of, like a win would obviously be the best outcome. And so, but yeah.
What's it like to have two former teammates playing in the NFL now?
Oh, it's amazing. I always love kind of tuning the games on, seeing how the Vikes going, obviously with the Broncos too, kind of in state. And so it's amazing seeing them out there doing their thing and representing the brand, and kind of just showing that the academy, I know we've kind of got a lot of stuff from people saying that, we're here to build war fighters, but, we also got some great athletes. And so I think a lot of people overlook that. And then, obviously looking at, the other academies, they're doing great things. And so, like, you can see the athletes that the academies build. And so I think it's brings a lot of attention kind of back to like the academies and the institutes that, you know, we're not just, you know, cadets and stuff, but we have some guys that are willing to go out there and put it on the line. And so it's amazing seeing them out there doing their thing and just continuing to represent. I think it's really cool.
Well, speaking of athletes, how did a 6'7" defensive lineman end up coming here? I don't remember any other 6'7" guys in my time covering the team.
Yeah, it was an interesting year for my high school year. With I like blew my knee out like third game, and then going to the playoffs had mono, so it was like a lot of injuries and sickness, kind of limited my recruiting ability a lot. But I was talking to Air Force for like 2 years, and so I did tour around other campuses, and I was like, I don't know, there's just something missing, you know? It's like I didn't know what, and so kind of coming here and experiencing the academy, you know, granted there was not a lot of things I told you kind of red line underneath when you're coming here, but it's a unique environment where, you know, a lot of people say that like you'll have brotherhoods for life here, and that's so true. So many of my guys here, it's like, you know, I'll do anything for them, and I like, you know, with NIL and the transfer portal, a lot of people, you know, you see bouncing around, and, you know, like it's that old college football that we all grew up loving, it's kind of fading a little bit. And I think one thing Coach Means always tells us is, you know, like the academies and a couple other schools, like we're the last frontier of old college football. And I think that's what's really special, and I think that's in a hand like our upper advantage on other teams. You know, guys can leave, but no one can come in. The guys you step foot with here on your first day is the guys you're going to see all the way through. And I think that's super special. And that's something that kind of drawed me in, you know, and kind of going after and graduating, and you're still doing something special, you know. And I think that's the super unique part about this place and the things we have to offer. It's not just football. There's always other stuff afterwards. I think that's super cool. So.
Does that big picture mentality help you get through tough times, like like a 1-5 start, or like whatever you're going through on the hill?
Oh, 100%. You know, you like going up after 6-hour practice, and you know you got a paper to write or you got a GR to study for, but like just knowing that like there's something like after that's like, okay, you know, I'm good. Guys got me, and there's a lot of other things that, you know, not a lot of other student athletes can say, and so like job guaranteed, and you know you get to do really cool things, and the whole world's open for you. So I think that's super cool, and you know just not getting bottled down in your everyday, because you know through football it can get monotonous sometimes. I think that's something maybe the team's struggling with a little bit, and just kind of getting that fire back with a lot of guys. And so, but I think it's super cool, super unique that like we can have that, you know, mindset throughout this whole game and year and everything. So.